Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender's Monday, April 14th, 2025. We have a lot to go through. I forgot to do the McClellan summation index, so we're going to start off with that on SPX on the daily time frame. I did usually do it on the weekend, or at least I try to. And we'll go through the indices all on daily, and then like we do every single day, we'll go down to the 65. We'll check out our indicators and see what's happening. Now, such a strong day today. All the breadth indicators were just pinned higher, but we saw lower price action, and I consider that weakness. I think we're going to turn around here and either. So we're going to call it test the bottom. That's what, whether we get a higher low or a lower low, we're going to test the bottom. It's just the verbiage that's used. So I would love to see that 470 area. We added on some puts in the Discord for lottos, just in case. And I'll show you exactly what we're looking for on that realm also. And what else? So we're doing this intraday about 12:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday and all of those trade alerts, we have in-out spreads that are just looking great. If you want to get the camaraderie, we have a lot of traders making some money here, and it's really cool to have this community in the Discord. So it's 99 cents a month to get all of that stuff. If you want to get the options expected moves for the Mag 7 and individual analysis, then that's $4.99 a month. So what a bargain. Here we go. We have SPX on the daily time frame. We're going to pull up that McClellan oscillator, pull up that beaker there, start the search, and it comes right up here as a summation index. Let's apply. So what we have going on here, we have this downtrend line that price has been working off of for quite some time. Okay, so we're at that point. So if we start to go lower, can we go up from here? Sure, we're over the 8 EMA, but we're still looking at the 20, and I'll show you that in a second. The trend indicator is still to the downside, so we don't have any foolproof probability that we're going higher from this exact spot. All right. I know that price action's firmed up, but still, we could easily fail right back down the 8 EMA with our 20 heading lower. And so what I'd really, really like to see is either a higher low, and we'll be ready for that. That's fine. A test of the lows where we get a higher low and we see this extreme bear situation, or even better, come down to the green area, and it's larger on SPY. I go up a little bit further to this 4,800 area, but nevertheless, making a new low, a slight new low is fine, into this extreme bearish territory, very similar to this correction. Beautiful correction into the box. We caught that one back in the day there. Extreme situation. And now both of these are identical in the fact one's much larger, right? So I want to have the play ready just in case we get some sort of, we got our bounce here into bear territory, and then we got a huge drop in 3-4 days right here to create a positive divergence. Now, this next move lower, same thing. We got into this extreme area, and although we didn't have positive divergence, started to bounce, and we had that sharp drop afterwards. So I want to be ready for that situation. That may not occur. We may get a higher low, but that's okay. We'll start to scale into our in-out spreads and some of our call positions. Plus, we have a really good setup in some Bitcoin proxy names. I showed that on the video I just did for members with MicroStrategies and how we're looking for that to make a higher low, and we'll catch that. Okay, not quite there yet. All right, just from looking at a visual, we have this bear flag breakdown. I started to draw a channel here, hoping that this channel would be a really good indicator of our lower highs and lower lows. We still have lower highs. Lower highs are the important thing right now. And we'll see if we get a lower low. So we still have this little downtrend right here, okay? Now, this isn't a permanent thing here, this channel. We can redraw it to that point over there, and it would be pretty much like all the other indices and everything. So, keep this with a grain of salt. Actually, I'll do it here. So that would mean we spiked through the bottom portion there. So we'll keep that there just in case price wants to continue to move higher. Do we make a new high and still have an overall lower high? I don't know. That would firm things up, like I said. But putting on the moving averages, we have the 8 EMA and the 20. Basically, we're squeezing in between them. Are we going to get price action to the side? First, that happened in the past. You get your bounce, and then price action went sideways here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days before it broke down. So anything can happen. That would be a theta decay situation. So we have time on our side and that's theta. That's the Greek theta, time. We have time on our sides if the market wants to go lower. Fine. I do think we go lower, but do we make a higher low or lower low is the big question. All right, so the 20 is still our trend indicator on the daily time frame. McClellan oscillator. All right, so we're starting to strengthen. We see breadth getting stronger. That's a good sign there. Will this break back down? We'll maintain. So all we're doing is we're getting back to that neutral point right now. And so with the lower highs at this point, that's going against us. The probability is that we go lower from this point. Not necessarily to new lows, but lower from this point. And we'll watch to see what price action wants to give us at there. Here's our MACD. So the MACD is not crossed over yet. Again, if we make lower lows, that would just be such a beautiful thing. That's why I have this line placeholder here, and we'd have positive divergence going in there, and just a fantastic opportunity if that happens. Same thing with the RSI. We didn't get anything. We have no real confirmation that we're even making a low yet. And the only way to confirm, in my opinion, is to get some of those positive divergences with a brand new low and then break back above the lows and some of the resistances. So we'll call it 4,950 right here. So if we break down, make a new low and regain 4,950, that's going to be a really good sign for positive divergence and breaking highs. And the only other way is if price grinds and really just starts to break the downtrend lines, makes higher highs and breaks this downtrend line here, and just completely grinds each day to the upside. That would, at some point, that would confirm that our lows are in as well. And that would be, it would have been a V-shaped reversal if we were to really see new highs coming, and we're just not really getting that. It's starting to grind at this point. We had the huge day and then two inside days. Now we're kind of breaking inside day out, but we're not making a new high yet. So just need to see more confirmation to just know that the lows are in. Otherwise, it's just a guess. DMARC, what's happening here? We got a 4 count so far. Nothing to see. Money flow index, we'll do that on SPY. Let's go over there. Nice scalps today. We started a futures trading room, and wonderful scalps on the Russell to the downside. We're out of those. We only had two trades, but that was really cool. And then overnight we did the gold futures trade and came out on top as well. Now we got stopped out a little early, but yeah, looked good. So we have our money flow index on SPY. That's giving us that positive divergence. It's the only indicator that's given us positive divergence at this point. So is this the only one we need? Perhaps. It's not really convincing to me, but sure. Bollinger Band, we got the buy with the oversold, snapback. Here's our volume shelf. Again, if we do break down to lower lows, we'd go really quick through this gap here, and we'd find it anywhere from 470 to about 477. So you have a range there for the shelf. And if price was really, really hit hard, which I really doubt it, we're looking at 455 in this former high over here. Elliott oscillator, again, we'd look for positive divergence here, nothing to see. Let's change boards. All right, so this is our bullish scenario where we have a expanding or broadening wedge for an ending diagonal. Okay, and you have your 1, 2, 3. Wave 3 was done here. We have a wave 4. And again, if we make a slight new low here, which typical low would be at the 162 for a C wave, if that's the way it's counted. I know there's tons of ways to count this. I have somebody that I just watched that they had the 1, 2 inside of here, that this was wave 3 in there. And this flag was 4 and expanded 5 out here. So that's how I originally had it counted before, but whatever. It's all speculation. Anyway, to see this down here to 473 wouldn't be out of the ordinary, and we'd move this line a little bit lower. So we didn't include those wicks there. But it looks if we do have our low in, and maybe we test out those lows and make a higher low right on this line, perhaps. Okay, the whole point is with the bullish situation, you have an ABC, and then you're looking for a nice blow off top for an ABC as well. All right, so they're all made of 3 waves. This expanding ending diagonal formation. So that's the bullish situation. Here's our timing. We're into timing right now. We talked about Friday into today. A little place there. So we'll see if we get our top here today. That's what I think is happening. And then we have 421 to 424. Wherever price is into this time price relationship, that's where I think we'll get another reversal. All right, and this is our bearish look. Whether you count this as a 5-wave move or a 3-wave move doesn't really matter. We had somebody in the Discord, Jen Mill, by the way, you've been fantastic. I really appreciate your support in there. Whether you count this as a 5-wave move already, or you have this as a 1 where the A is, 2 where B is, you have wave 3 where the crash was, and then you have this really deep wave 4. I mean, there's no rule. It didn't cross over. We didn't get a crossover. You have the low at 549.68 in the high 548. We didn't get the crossover from 1 to 4 if you count it as a 4. No rule that says it can't go that deep. It's just awkward. It just doesn't look how most wave 4s look. Who cares, right? So you can count this as a wave 4, and we go for a wave 5 lower. Everything's skewed from volatility. So that's completely acceptable. All right. So whether you're looking at it as a 5-wave or a 3-wave, we're still on the bearish look. We're looking for an A wave. Is wave A complete, or does wave A need a new low? That's what we're guessing. And then you get a B wave afterwards, however long that takes, however deep that is. And then you have your C wave, which should be a larger crash. It could be symmetrical, where it's a 100% of the A wave down to B, down to C. But when things get rough, usually that C wave hits the 162% extension, and it's just really, really large and extreme. So, and later on, I know I'm babbling now, but this could be a 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 as well. So either way, we're looking for the same thing at that point. All right, let's go around the indices. QQQ. Again, this would be a really good spot to have positive divergence and the trend line from 2009 if we do get lower. All right, so we're in the same position as SPY. We're just making lower highs. I know it's really pushing to the limits up there, but nevertheless, it's a lower high. All right, we need to see this downtrend line taken, the highs taken, and you can start to repair. At this point, we don't have that. And so do we get a higher low or a lower low before really making our next big correction to the upside? SMH. SMH here, we have, I think we could redraw this as a channel. A couple ways you can look at this. We can redraw a channel there for now. And do we get another low? We do have a nice zone here that we reached, but we didn't make it to the bottom of. So if we do make another lower low, perhaps we get all the way down to 163. There's a couple ways you can count this. Right now, it really looks like you can have this B wave, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move in. It's done. All right. And this is an ABC, and you make brand new highs. That would match along with the bullish situation that we just showed with that expanding ending diagonal in SPY. So that can't be negated. But in my opinion, very similar to IWM, I think this was just the beginning. This may be an A, a B, and then we're just starting a 5. If the 5 is done, and then a 3 wave for a correction, and then a 5 wave, 3 wave, 5 wave. So in other words, an extension. We have a 5 wave impulse move, but this could turn into just the first wave, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, and that would give you our recession going into next year. IWM, same thing. We had a larger A, B, and you can look on the weekend analysis for this as well. And now we're creating a channel here, and perhaps we get a new low to this bottom of the zone. That would be very typical from one end to the next. Otherwise, we're at good support here, and we'll see how this goes. But when this is all said and done, I think we get a wave 2 in here, and then we start heading lower for wave 3. And you'll see what the bigger pattern is if you check out the weekend video. DIA had some trouble getting back into this resistance here, but got above it and still lower high. Looks like everything else. The VIX, now technically the VIX you could say is backtesting this channel, right? So we can draw a second channel that it came up to. So is it just a backtest and we make new highs? That is quite possible. We'll have to see where we go with here. Let's see if price action can get over to 35, close this gap, and then we'll see if we can hold above that 35. That will be very telling for what the market's doing. All right, and so we'll follow this to see if we break back down. If we get above and then we break back down from 35, then we're probably going to get that that higher low in the indices. But if we make a new high here, it's very possible that we had just a big drop going from in the indices to lower lows. Let's just, while we're on the daily, give you a little picture of Bitcoin. And again, this is This is what we're eyeing, and this is why our proxy names that we're looking to trade into, I think we're probably going to get a higher low, and we'll go back through Bitcoin on the other end of the video, along with Mag 7, because that's what we've been basing everything off of. So I think the low is in, and we're going to make a higher low if we get the retracement that I think we'll get, and we'll break out from there. So just a little bit more time left. It looked like we were going to break out today, but I just wasn't ready for that to happen with the kind, and I'll show you later. SPY. Let's go down to 65. And now I have these different situations we talked about over the weekend. So we have our visual here, and I was really, really wanting this to, it's not a very valid trend line at this point, but I wanted this to hold to the downside so we could see an equilibrium, and it's just not playing out, that great there. So it seems like we're holding it with price action. But now I think it's a little bit more important to just pay attention. If price breaks down from here, we'll just pay attention to this next line. It's a geometric line so far. It's a pivot. There's no validation. It's only 2 touches. So we'll see how that goes, because that coincides with our retracements, and I'll show you where that is. But at this point, if you're looking at this as a bear flag, we broke down today. Okay? So you want to see if you're a bull from this point. All we did was close the gap so that we had a reaction there. At this point, you really got to get back, let's say, back above 543, and not only that, to start to close the gap here. All right, get to that options expected move to the upper end. All right, but right now, I see a technical breakdown. Okay, so our next spot here is the options expected move to the downside. I know there's layers in between, but this would be our ultimate move here, and probably down a little bit lower to 5, depending on when it gets down there, 510, 509. And so let's change boards, and I give you both scenarios of what we're talking about for the weekend. All right, first of all, that's our timing. We have today coming in, so is that a high that matches with the daily? So we could have our high in today. All right, let's go over to, here's what happens if we go lower. And again, this triangle, although it doesn't fit perfectly, heading here, honest, it doesn't matter. You can put it here. It's just not valid. We're looking for this a lower high, no matter what. All right, and so we could draw. Anyway, I'm not going to get into this. Whole point is, with the lower high, this deep wave 2 is still valid. All right, you invalidate this move here, and you look more like Bitcoin. If you get a new high above here, you'll look like Bitcoin, and then I think it's more probable that we have a higher low at that point. And you can still count it as a bearish, and I'll show you on Bitcoin what I'm talking about. But at this point, this count cannot be negated. You have an A, B, C wave, and now you have a 1, 2, which to me, being so deep, I think this is going to lose momentum, and this is going to be a very crunched up 5-wave move down, if not a ending diagonal that has just big bounces, 3-wave, and then a big 4, and then a 5, just to eke out a new low. So these are just placeholders. And so far, this is still valid. All right. If we go a little bit higher, I think we'll upgrade our scenarios to all of them being higher lows. So here's what the higher low at this point would look like. And again, don't pay too much attention to that downtrend. You can call it a fake break or whatever. If it breaks down from there, whatever. We haven't now a larger degree A. If we want to go higher, then we get a higher low for a B wave, and that could take us into this pivot down to the 62% retracement or even the 50%. It doesn't matter, depending on the timing as well. So that would be our zone. B waves can be anything, so it can be a triangle. It can, you can get all sorts of things in there. But so far, looks like you'll just get some sort of zigzag maybe, and then impulse wave to the upside, and that should break all the downtrend lines and such, and you get our deeper retracement before heading again to a C wave lower. Okay, so that's the game plan that we have. Now let's go around the horn, get a visual of everything, and then we'll stop with the Mag 7 and Bitcoin. So we had that megaphone here, got back into it. We're kind of breaking down from it again. Same look here. Couldn't close the gap, looking weak. SMH. Here's the channel I drew on SMH. Just really another downtrend, lower high until we break this sequence. We keep going lower. IWM. Looks the weakest so far. And this one tells a little bit different story. This one, we made a new low here, but we had that spike. So we have an A, ABC 4B, expanded flat, and then made a new high here. So this one to me says that we for sure have a new low on IWM, and everything else, may have a higher low. But this one certainly is giving us a pathway saying we're going to make new lows here before we start to get our bottom in. So that's why we've been scalping this. As a matter of fact, I'll probably re-enter a short, because I like this as one of the weaker players. And this is why we held today. We got a little bounce there. Scalp this. We're already in some puts, but might as well scalp this to the downside. And then DIA. Again, kind of messing around with this bear flag. I just held on to this look here just to be curious on what that looks like. So that looks like it's still in a bear flag, lower high. And here's the VIX. There's a good look at it back testing the channel that we have drawn out here. All right, back tested. We're starting to get some strength here. Couldn't quite close the gap. That's bullish. Here, probably close the gap sooner than later above, and we'll see if we make new highs or not with the VIX. Here's the mags. Remember, this is such an emphasis on confirmation. Look at that. All we did was come back to test that 382 that I said was just so important here. All right. That 382 is our bull bear, 45.88. It's also a great resistance point. We're breaking back down from it. Couldn't get a new high there either. All right. And Bitcoin, give you a visual of what to expect from the market. So we have our downtrend zone here. We're holding on to. Can this go straight up from here? Yes. Now, especially since we're on the zone there. Here's how I'm looking at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move for a leading diagonal. It looks like a bear flag. It could break down as a bear flag, but I think it'll make a higher low if it does break down. Now, if it keeps holding on, and so this is, if we make a new high here, this would, we made a lower high from this point on SPY, but if we can grind out a new high on SPY, then I think this is a scenario that I think is playing out where we have a leading diagonal. Now, of course, if price action breaks out from here, which, we have negative divergence that's playing out. We have a turn over here, negative divergence. I don't think this is the case, but you could consider this nesting. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's starting to spread out. More momentum to the upside, and you should get a massive wave 3 to the upside. No playing around. It should hold this trend if that is a nesting here. All right, so those are the things that we're looking at. I think we'll break down going into tomorrow or the rest of the week, and we should get a higher low in Bitcoin. We should get a lower low, in my opinion. We're looking for that lower low in SPY, but we'll see how that happens. And we're in these timing windows coming up here where lows should be coming in. And so making lower highs, that's not helping out the scenario for the bullish situation. So there we go. Thank you for joining us here at OptionsTender. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.